Hey, soul survivors, we are going to talk about the hidden epidemic and parental family estrangement. So it can be between whatever family members, but in recent years, family estrangement has shifted from a private show of sorrow to widespread cultural reality. And I want to stop for a second and share my screen with you to show you just how astonishing the rates are. And it's giving me a little bit of problems, but hold on. Really want you guys to be able to see this. All right, so let me stop my share, make sure you're in the correct thing, and we are good to go. But I want you to see, perfect, it's going to work. Okay, so right here you can see the estranged parents and children, and it is on the rise. So in 1970, when I was born, it was like 2, 3%, and we are over 25% now, closer to like 30% in 2025. So over the years, you can see this sharp increase, especially after 2010. It starts really escalating. And the duration, the amount of time that these go on is like the estrangement lasts for like 1 to 5 years for about 42, 43% of the time. 6 to 9 years, that's around 26, 27%. But over 10 years, you have 30% of estrangements like lasting longer than 10 years or more. So it can be quite difficult to navigate. So 26% of Americans are estranged from at least one family member. And Dr. Carl Pillemer of Cornell University estimates that more than 67 million people in the US have experienced a major family cutoff. So behind every statistic lies a story, a parent grieving the silence of a child or an adult child finally stepping away after years of conflict, misunderstanding, or emotional harm. So we want to find out why estrangement is increasing. So I'm 55 years old, and that's how long it took for it to escalate from 2 to 3% to upwards of around 30. So psychologists point to several powerful cultural shifts that are rising. So we have the rise in mental health awareness. People today can recognize emotional abuse, chronic invalidation, or unsafe dynamics, and they're willing to set boundaries, even with family. Also, breaking generational patterns. Younger generations prioritize emotional safety over obligation. So they don't grow up thinking, I got to take care of mom or dad till they die. They prioritize themselves. So Gen Z and millennials report higher estrangement rates, often tied to trauma, identity conflict, or unmet emotional needs. Shifting expectations between parents and adult children. Parents expect closeness simply because we're family. That's kind of how we were raised. Adult children expect respect, accountability, and emotional attunement. When these exceptions clash, the distance starts to grow. Also, divorce and blended family dynamics. Children from high conflict divorces are nearly twice as likely to become estranged from a parent in adulthood. Also, that pressure cooker effect, economic stress, political tension, social fragmentation have widened family divides. And the pandemic magnified unresolved issues, turning long-standing fractures into permanent silence. So the psychology behind family cutoffs, estrangement rarely happens suddenly. Psychologists define it as ongoing negative feelings, minimal or no contact, and a perceived loss of the relationship. So three core psychological patterns appear again and again. Emotional injury, small moments accumulate, criticism, dismissiveness, invalidation. And after years of feeling not heard, distance becomes protection. Identity conflict, adult children often pull away when their values, identity, or boundaries are consistently dismissed. Unresolved ruptures, parents often say, I don't even know what I did. Research shows that unaddressed conflict slowly erodes trust until the relationship collapses. So sometimes it's just not seeing eye to eye, not understanding each other, or wanting to defend yourself. But the silent grief of estranged parents and children, it's considered a form of ambiguous loss, grieving without clarity or closure. Parents report shame, confusion, deep emotional pain, and children report guilt, anxiety, and sometimes relief mixed with sorrow. And the impact um, as physical experiences of rejection or family cutoff can increase anxiety, depression, and even inflammatory responses in the body. So the hope, reconciliation, it does happen more often than you think. Here's what most people don't know. Research from the Reconciliation Science Lab shows that 4 in 10 estranged families eventually reconnect. So that's like 40%. But reconciliation isn't random. It follows pattern. Time helps. If they've asked for space, we have to give them space. And that can be quite difficult. Distance lowers the emotional temperature. Most reconnections occur after 2 to 5 years. So hang in there. Accountability, not guilt. Parents who acknowledge past ruptures, even inadvertent ones, have a far higher success rate than those relying on guilt or obligation. So it's real important if you're the parent not to say, you owe me this, or I took care of you, it's your turn, or what am I going to do? I'm going to end up in a nursing home. Don't start doing that stuff. Don't guilt trip them. Boundaries create safety. Reconciliation requires new rules. No criticism, space when needed, respect for autonomy, and non-defensive listening. So the small bridge moments, a moment of empathy, I hear you, repairs more than a dozen apologies ever could. So we don't need to always defend ourselves. We just need to give what we would hope for is a listening ear and to understand, and also check for understanding. So I'm hearing what you're saying is, and they can feel more validated that way. So what actually helps families reconnect? Psychologists emphasize 4 evidence-based strategies: perspective taking, understanding the other person's emotional world, not to agree, but to see. Repair attempts, even small gestures, dramatically increase the likelihood of building trust. Guided conversations, success nearly doubles when reconciliation happens with a therapist or a mediator. That way you don't get caught up in the he said, she said stuff. They can help keep you on track. You can utilize just a third party, that is educated. A therapist or mediator is awesome. I also do one-on-one. So if you would like to do that, I can help you. But respecting the pace, most reconnections unfold slowly. First, messages and brief conversations, eventually in-person contact. So estrangement, yes, it is extremely painful, complex, and deeply human, but it's not always permanent. So don't give up hope. Don't lash out in anger. And with time, compassion, accountability, and healthier boundaries, families can write new chapters even after years of silence. So if you or someone you love is navigating estrangement, remember, healing doesn't begin with perfection. It starts with understanding each other. So topic requests are welcome. One-on-ones are always available. Comment part 2 if you would like to know more about estrangement between family members.